Yeah, no, he's absolutely cooking. And to be honest, again, was very unlucky not to find himself still up in the endgame there. However, none of that matters. Into map 2. The teams fly on in again, and of course it is busy straight away off the start as Daga finds Destroy. Teams that contested living quarters last time will go yet again. We will assess how these things move around as the day moves about. However, right now, if you lost last time, you're definitely coming back for revenge here in map 2.
Living quarters being hot is just so interesting to me. You got Heretics here, you got Team Zix nearby as well. Destroy is here. So a couple of 3 teams just kind of looking around, but very quickly you could have one of these other teams like Falcons or Twisted Minds just collapse on you. The third party is a very real threat right now.
It is, indeed. You start to put yourself in a difficult spot, and honestly, I'm trying to think back. Is living quarters often hotly contested? I don't often feel so unless you begin to become worried about a team from Stronghold, and right now the only squad out there is going to be Falcons and Cams. Absolutely, Reed Zix has more confidence. Snap! Oh, nearly! Hamu just does enough to bring down the Spaniard, and that will be the saving graces there for Team Zix, because that looks like a very worrying situation. If he falls there, they're completely out of this.
Yeah, really solid timing there from Hamu to kind of fly on in. That was almost becomes a 1v3 from Cams by themselves. And if you would be Team Zix going out in fashion like that, you would definitely be feeling a little dejected at that mark. But let's look on over. Team Vitality, a rough game number 1 for them. They need to kind of make something happen, but look who is nearby to them as well. It's fellow EU folks. It is, of course, Team Abwiz.
Yeah, and they're just playing around Industries here and continuing to be a thorn in that Vitality side. But what they often like to do is then play out through towards Dock, and we'll find Team Destroy en route. However, Stuo doesn't want to just let things slide and fires off some bullets. Moving on towards Guild, we know that they like to contest this prison. We know that they often end up in a fight with Team Aydan. It's often back and forth, but right now it looks like the guys from Britain are coming out on top.
Yeah, we saw that Team Aydan was our first team eliminated in map number 1, and I'm starting to see why. When you got a Guild that's moving around prison like this, holding a couple different of the levels, it is no surprise that they are finding those eliminations. No. Back on the other side of the map, though, we have SGP Syndicate, who maybe might be taking this fight. Doggy flies around the corner. Patsuka will be able to find him. Stuo with the assist as well from up top. Will get taken on out as they fly on through. Believe is taken on down. We're starting to see some of these breacher drones maybe creating some space. Hopefully some self-revives go off. You can get the teammates back on up. That would be a huge ream to the other side of the map. We were starting to see Na'Vi go against Team Destroy.
Yeah, a little bit more chemistry there coming out of Vitality. The kind of plays that we expect. Stuo provides the coverage for Patsuka and Enxin to get aggressive, and it does enough to keep them in this one. Let's look on over then towards our map 1 winners. Team Twisted Minds here playing out through Harbour. They are going to have company from the Spaniards, who haven't looked bad at the start of this, but Z-Smith is going to make things difficult for them as he pulls the dagger down into the ground. Method Sick also cleaned on up, so Cam's going to be by himself for a moment.
Oh, but Falcons on the other side of the map, starting to see Zizix and Hamoud taken on out, bringing them on down. The Falcons getting aggressive over on that side of the map. You have Omit, maybe a little of a lackluster game number 1, trying to be able to kick-start the car here in game number 2. Strongholds looking a little bit of alive here, as we do see Team Destroy, we're getting put in a little bit of a blender early on. Looks like Stronghold has been their POI to try and regain on, but I don't know if that's the best decision, Enigma, when Falcons are waiting nearby.
I mean, if I'm VOD reviewing my tournament and I'm thinking Stronghold as a landing place to recover against the Falcons, I've got a couple of questions about your decision making. But anyway, moving on over towards our Puerto Ricans, the surprise squad for me, who managed to get on through this Omit lineup, but they will not have been surprised in their own performances as they try and contest around this factory region, which will be quite busy, by the way. You've got Twisted Minds here, you've got the new Icons here, and a couple of players from the Heretics still lingering around.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, that Factory can kind of become this area that you can find a lot of teams trying to sit on, and it feels like Twisted Minds is really finding a lot of success moving back and forth from that POI. SGP Syndicate, though, we do see Dongy get taken on out, barely staying alive, and just at the last moment, Believe we'll be able to stick the res, but you have to do it quickly because Oki is nearby, looking to get a little bit of an aggressive take here, but it looks like a smoke will give them the space they need to wrap back on out. But on the outside, AB Wiz, they were trying to get active in that fight, but it seems like somebody is starting to bring it to them. Well, it's none other than Fnatic. You got Skullface down below. UAV will get popped by Oki. drops the PA on the roof, maybe to catch another player, but none of the members of Fnatic are up there. You just have Skullface down in the showers.
That might have been a bunker buster that comes on down, by the way, and it's going to be causing some grief for Fnatic, because not only do you get the initial impact, but you get this gas as well that lingers around and causes all of the aerial denial. The thing is as well, with no friendly fire, apologies, coming into that, you can then push into it yourself. I'm surprised by the lack of aggression there out of Team Abwiz. I expected them to fly at that, but they're just going to let Fnatic escape for now, and Fnatic will only run into more trouble as he tries to put plates in and has company, and he's going to turn, and he's going to try and burn, and he finds one, but he gets landed on as well, and there are multiple players here as Noobs tries to spring on over the top. King AJ's trying to provide the support, but he takes bullets in the back as well. Got to be careful because Wars is in a gunfight, and Vision's out of here.
Skullface making the great escape, and Noobs coming down from the heavens to assist, keeping their tournament life alive. That is the type of plays I love seeing from Fnatic. They are so quick to just, when maybe things don't go their way, to regroup as a squad and start to win that fight, and I think that's a perfect example of that. Skullface did such a good job of staying alive from these literally 2 or 3 different fights from different teams, and is able to play their life, not only play their life, find an elimination as well, and then create space for their squad over at Prison.
Indeed, but well, Levi just decides to punch on through Prison and find King AJ napping in a corner, apparently. Na'Vi looking to take control of the central landmark in the map. It looks like Dawn's actually going to pull slightly off towards the west side, so maybe we're talking somewhere like a headquarters for the end of this, but Biffle will not lose that gunfight, because of course he doesn't lose his ones. Cleans up, finds his 4th, and you're going to see Cam disappear off in the back there. Heretics in a spiral, and a squad that are definitely not of the Twisted Minds. All 3 players on board, and they have company in the new icons.
Yeah, currently sitting on 7. The Twisted Minds are off to a hot start here. You can see potentially could find these new icons. Aydan making the play up above, trying to get a little bit aggressive. Semtex go through the window. That could be a beautifully placed grenade. It is, brings them on down. Knight's there to help with the cleanup as they look to fly on forward, find the rest of the squad. Lukinas a little bit on the up. They got to be able to hear that, though. A little bit of a stair glitch coming in from Aydan as he tries to take the fight. Z-Smith's going to be the one to fly on forward, and it's inside. Knight finds Lukinas.
Aydan does so well there to play his life, by the way, because if he gets dragged on down early, perhaps overchalling and then giving up one of his lives, then you end up in a situation where you're trying to recover. We know how busy this area can be, but instead he stays up, allows his teammates to push, they clear out the new icons, they continue to move, and Fnatic now on our screen, and we've spoken so much about how improved they looked from the World Series after that boot camp in London, and just continuing to step on up here at the Esports World Cup. They have control center control, they also have a player over in headquarters, and Noobs is going to be trailing his way over there.
Currently tied, leading eliminations in the leaderboard with Twisted Minds and Falcons in this game.
Baby.
So this is a hot start if you are Fnatic. I know that they really wanted to come into this tournament, prove everyone wrong from their past performances. Map 2 could be where it starts to come on up, but meanwhile, on the other side of the map at Living Quarters, Biffle doing what Biffle does, and that is just absolutely slam you, buddy.
Absolutely world starring, and Shifty wants all the smoke as well as he finds Tenix. By the way, talking about the kind of pace that these boys are putting on up, they have not slowed down. They still have Soka, by the way, sat in Stronghold, still playing that anchor, but Shifty and Biffle continuing to just roam around the map and tear everything to pieces. They want Factory next. There's going to be a couple Twisted Minds players in the vicinity, and then some Omit players as well, but Fnatic are cleaning out the prison, and they find 2 players. A Guardian will slow them down momentarily, but Skullface is on the hunt, and that will be Guild out of here. They are cleaned out, and that will be Fnatic taking control of our central landmark.
Well, Guild, you might have been able to hold Prison at the start of the game, but it's Fnatic's playground now as they take down Guild at the top. You still have Team Zizix not too far away, so they can potentially find some even more eliminations or start looking down towards that factory where we see Twisted Minds starting to hang on out. Biffle, just yet again, living in his living quarters, making the POI have a namesake as he is just camping on out, finding the eliminations left and right. One thing I want to note here, Enigma, Shifty with 2,600 damage, and we're only through basically half of the game.
Well, one of the things as well, they're not just taking control of the living quarters, they're also living in the minds of these Omit players, because they just keep farming them. Every time they try and come out of the sky and look for some sort of reprieve, some sort of safety, the Falcons say, not today, and clean them on up. And we will move into this Singapore Syndicate quiet thus far. I really saw a lot of plays out of Dongy through group stages.
Yep.
Your man on your screen right now, he was their star performer, he was their X Factor. Usually let off on a leash while the other 2 play anchor. But as respawn ends, as resurgence is disabled, you got to be careful, and I actually agree with this decision to group up together and push things as a trio.
Makes me a little bit worried, though, Enigma, because I'm looking at how many kills they have, and it's look, they're sitting on 8, which maybe might feel good until you look at the rest of the leaderboard, and we have 4 teams that are across the double-digit threshold. So you have 3 alive, your whole team is here, but you really have to try and put yourself in a power position, and I don't know if the power position is flying at the Falcons over here at the living quarters.
Okay.
Thankfully, a little bit of a trade comes on through. Dongy is able to fly on in and finds Shifty, so that is one member of the Falcons taken on down, but they need to keep this aggression going, because look, they don't be able to find the rest of the team, and already, very quickly, already back on the mix, Shifty is.
Yeah, the Falcons have been having such a good game that the resurgence time is so low, and even if you were struggling at all, you've got that buy station nearby in living quarters, so you just use the cash to bring your boy back on in. By the way, Fnatic here going to be contested by Vitality. Also likely have more company soon to arrive from prison. This is the central area of this current zone. It's not a bad position to be in. And Almond and Go, we know how good they've been throughout this tournament at taking a hold of the best rotational points on the map. Noob's trying to provide coverage, trying to provide some information.
Just trying to look on, hang on out here. Fnatic currently sitting on 14 eliminations, only 1 behind the Falcons. A great little aerial view on the players fighting around headquarters, because as we look towards the circle, all of these teams are going to have to push on out, down, basically into this edge of living quarters. You got 1 single buy station in the zone, so we could start seeing some hero plays of people trying to get their teammates back on in, similar to like what we saw in map number 1. But Fnatic, they're doing a great job of just gatekeeping this side of zone. These players coming outside of headquarters, as Noobs is just laying down the damage with this Holger 26. Almond, you might be able to kind of fly on up and maybe find the final member of Vitality.
Yeah, that setup there, just Noobs looking to provide that coverage, saves Almond essentially from being pushed off this point, and which will provide you potentially a bit of safety into the next zone. I don't know if there's safety when Falcons exist within there. Skullface will actually find Zix, and look at those buys going off in the background, and as we get a look on out over things, it's going to be Team Zix pushing up against the Team Falcons, and we know that Almond was split off, so he's decided to regroup with his 2 teammates to try and play this on out together. They got to try and make a rotation at some point, and Hamoud just about survives by the skin of his teeth, and he's going to have to play on through this building. Fnatic all around him, a member of Vitality not very far away. The plates will go in, he has a second to breathe, and then he's got to fly.
Yeah, this is a really tough spot to try and play if you are Hamoud. Fnatic doing a great job, though, of kind of playing this edge of gas. They don't really need to get hyper-aggressive. The smokes come on out. That will give them the wrap to push on in. Dongy nearby alongside Intex and Believe. Looks like you had Omit taken down. Maybe you found one. A little bit of a standoff between these 2 teams across the building. The remaining teams, as you can look at the mini-map here, everybody trying to vie for some sort of building, including Fnatic, who are just hanging out in headquarters right now. And that might be the play of them, because as the zone starts pulling back towards the north, they might be able just to look on down and find a lot of elimination.
Yeah, the zone pull benefits Fnatic massively. We do have the Falcons trying to rotate, but just what you have here is Fnatic hoping to stay alive. Maybe some PDSs come on out, burn through those gases, use the stim, stay alive, give yourself the best positioning, and look at our Falcons trying to claim it as they move on up through the smoke coverage.
Falcons looking to rotate early. Omit not too far behind, though, but you do have SGP Syndicate kind of playing from behind. So if you're not careful, you could start getting shot in your back, as everybody is trying to vie for this headquarters. Falcons flying up through.
Oh, hello.
Soka flies on in, finds all 3 members of Fnatic, says a little bit of a hello. Shifty with the pre-fire is not going to be able to find them as they are below. Hisoka fully eliminated. We know that this team likes to make gas plays, though. Will they be able to go back on in, find another buy to get their teammate in the mix? But Fnatic doing a great job with their positioning. Looks like Dongy has been able to make their way to the roof, just kind of sitting there looking down below. He sees Omit, but no shots taken.
Biffle will take bullets, though. He has 9, hoping for 10, but he's going to have to play his life. And actually, Biffle and Shifty here are somehow finding a way onto towards the rooftop. Omit have found themselves on the low ground, and Shifty's taken the top here. Dongy's cleaned on out, and we find Elolam picking up Skullface elsewhere. And this is down to our top 4 teams. And although Fnatic did have all their players, they suddenly are struggling. Noobs falls. Almond manages to trade it on out. Almond trying to provide a little bit of coverage. Doesn't realize that J6 just around the corner, and that will finally be a Omit wiped from the board here. But Biffle and Shifty are somehow in the best position in this zone. What is that thermite. What is that throw? Top 3, here we go, baby.
Listen, I know Biffle might not look like the most muscular person, but he's got an arm on him. Fnatic, they opt to go to the low ground, maybe can catch the Falcons, trying to push on out as the zone is coming to the final moments. Look at your mini-map, though. Our third player, it's a member from SGP Syndicate who's just in the gas on the low, maybe just trying to hope that the rest of the lobby does go on down. Noob's going to opt to try and stay in the gas for as long as possible. Falcons on the roof, trying to shoot from below. This is a little bit tough for you, our Fnatic. Skullface tries to make the play up through the ladder. He gets taken out. That's a full. Comes down to a 2v2. Almond is down. Noobs is pushing up the ladder. Can he manage to get up here? He cannot. It's going to be Biffle who's able to bring them on down, but Biffle and Shifty, they're both down. We still have one more player up, and it's going to be a member from Fnatic. It's going to come down to a heal-off. Can Biffle stay alive? Who's it going to be?
What is going on?
What's going on? It's Dave! Falcons do it! Game number 2!
What? It comes down to who lives out in the gas the longer, and of course, the Falcons, undeniable. Second place in the first game, but clean it up here in the most unconventional manner I think I have ever seen a Warzone game be finished. And not just that, Dandro, 23 kills, a 46-point banger for the side that are looking to claim a Dynasty title.
They had 25 in game 1 with a second place. They say that's not good enough. They answer back in map number 2 with 23 eliminations and the dub, a 46-point game. I got to imagine that Fnatic was not too far away behind them, though, as they, I believe, had 22 eliminations with that 1.7. So the thing to note from me here, Enigma, is that, great, we have a couple other teams that seems like they're able to contest